The indexing process begins fairly conventionally, with the indexer examining the material to determine its aboutness. Having done so, the indexer makes between 1 and 4 descriptive phrases that cover the overall content of the work. In the example we will use, the phrase is 20th century female jazz instrumentalists. These phrases should be worded in the passive voice. The indexer then analyzes these phrases to determine the relationship between the phrase's various component parts. If there is an action described, the action will be considered the focus of the sentence. When there is no action and the phrase is simply conceptual, as is the case in our example, the indexer determines if the words ought to be grouped hierarchically or associatively, a distinction which is usually clearly apparent. The indexer then converts each phrase into an input string, using the words in each phrase as a basis for the terms. The order of the words is based on function and syntax, using action, when present, as the basis for the structure. Verbs are replaced by nouns, and in cases where there is no appropriate noun for use as a replacement, gerunds are to be used instead. In our example, there is no action, so the term order is based on a hierarchical order reminiscent of what one might use in the Dewey or Library of Congress systems. The indexer then determines the tags for the terms. The tags serve as instructions for the conversion of input strings into entries. The primary tags are lead, lead only, not up, and not down. Lead terms are terms that can be first in an entry. They are, as such, essentially the user's entrance points into the index. Lead-only terms are an infrequently used subgroup of lead terms that can only be the first in an entry and never a secondary term. The not up and not down tags block further addition of terms in one direction from the tagged term, the reasoning being to provide a way to exclude terms deemed irrelevant or redundant to a particular set of potential entries. In our example, the terms jazz instrumentalists and women are tagged. The rationale is that a book about female jazz instrumentalists would likely be of interest both to readers interested in jazz instrumentalists and to readers interested in female-oriented books. The term 20th century could not be tagged as a lead term because the book would not be a good place to go for readers looking for generalized information about the 20th century. The not up and not down tags are not necessary at all in this instance. Having established the tags, the indexer makes any necessary rearrangement of terms for the final strings.